His goal is to observe his officers, untainted by official facades, but when one of the white officers spits in his face, mistaking him for just another stranger, the entire station is on the brink of a shocking revelation. It was a sweltering Tuesday in August when Richard Nelson, the newly appointed police chief, stepped out of his car in the heart of Blue Ridge, a small town nestled in the hills of North Carolina. Wearing a simple plaid shirt, worn-out jeans, and old sneakers, he didn't look like someone who had spent 20 years in law enforcement, and that's exactly how he wanted it. Richard believed in seeing things as they truly were, rather than through the lens of perfectly rehearsed meetings and speeches. As a black man stepping into a station with rumors of corruption swirling around it, he was determined to view it without any illusions. What better way to do that than to blend in? The station was busy, officers coming and going, chatting amongst themselves, casting curious glances his way. Nobody recognized him, and why would they? His appointment had only been announced a few days earlier, and he had chosen not to draw attention before his official walkthrough later that day. Richard adjusted his cap and took a deep breath. The weight of the task ahead, cleaning up the growing toxicity in the department, pressed heavily on his shoulders. He knew there would be resistance, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came his way. As he approached the building, laughter echoed down the hallway. He entered through a side door, blending in with the noise of chatter and ringing phones. The warm scent of stale coffee mixed with the harsh glow of fluorescent lights. He moved slowly, observing how officers huddled in groups around desks, some sharing stories, others reviewing documents. He paused near the break room. Just then, a sharp voice cut through the air. "Hey, you!" A white officer with a scowl approached, smirking. His badge read, Officer Daniels. A few other officers lingered nearby, watching the scene unfold. Richard opened his mouth to respond, but Daniels didn't give him a chance. "Lost, are we? This isn't a shelter," he said with a tone of superiority. "Get out of here." Richard froze. The words landed like a punch. He wasn't sure whether to call him out right away or hold off. Before he could decide, Daniels stepped even closer, his voice rising so everyone could hear. "Didn't you hear me? Get out. We don't need people like you here." Laughter erupted in the room. Richard tensed, his heart pounding, but he remained calm. He took out his handkerchief and slowly, deliberately wiped his face. "Is this how you greet everyone who walks into your station?" he asked, his voice steady but firm. Daniel smirked again. "Only people who don't belong here." The other officers laughed again. Richard didn't respond, turning and walking down the hallway toward the station's main office. At that moment, the intercom crackled to life. "Attention all staff, please report to briefing." The briefing room was filled with noise as officers entered, many holding cups of coffee, others laughing at their own jokes. Richard slipped in through a side door, carrying a folder with the department's emblem. He positioned himself in a way that he was unseen, watching as the room filled up. At the front, Captain Harris, a man with graying mustache, took charge. "All right, listen up. We have an important announcement today." The room quieted. Curiosity peaked in every officer's eyes. Daniels, standing against the wall, wore a self-satisfied grin, enjoying the moment. Captain Harris continued. "As most of you know, our former chief, Captain Caldwell, retired last month, and we've been waiting for his replacement. I'm proud to introduce our new leader, a man with an impressive record and vision for this station." Richard stepped forward. The room went still as he approached. His calm demeanor only heightened the tension in the air. Daniels paled, his smile fading. Officers exchanged confused glances. "Good morning," Richard began. "My name is Richard Nelson, and as of today, I am your new police chief." The silence was deafening. Daniel's face turned red, his confidence evaporating. Richard pressed on. "This morning, I arrived in plain clothes because I wanted to see this station without any filters. What I saw was truly eye-opening." A light murmur passed through the room, but Richard raised his hand, silencing everyone. "In the short time I've been here, I've already witnessed behavior that is not only unprofessional, but absolutely unacceptable. Let me be clear. The culture that has been allowed to thrive here ends today." The room fell into complete silence again. every officer feeling the weight of his words. Daniel shrank back, unable to meet anyone's gaze. Richard stepped closer to the edge of the podium, his voice sharp but controlled. Respect is not optional. It is the foundation of everything we do. Without it, we cannot perform our duties, and we will fail not only each other, but the community we serve. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. Some of you laughed, thinking I was just some helpless man. But let me remind you, every person who walks through those doors deserves respect, whether they wear a uniform or not. His words sliced through the air, making it clear. Richard was not here for games.